rules on the bar. Who do you cool? You not inside, you not know. I wanna get the bigger things. You're the list, not your denial. Don't give up, keep working harder. No matter how long the storm lasts, the sun will always shine behind a cloud. No matter how long the storm lasts, the sun will always shine behind a cloud. Your setback will be a major comeback. Me pa, I only hope for long life. Bubbly water can carry rock. Then they don't get no cause to worry. Give God the glory for the little love. I give God the glory, keeping me alive.
So I give God the glory for keeping me alive. Give God the glory for keeping me alive. Get a puppy girl.
After party, yeah. Party after party, yeah.
There's one place, and that place is the place you can find all your party supply. It's Models D Party Supply on Camp Johnson Road. It's Models D Party Supply. Has all and every kinds of party supplies you need, ranging from party dishes, plastic tablecloths, Disney party banners for kids, flowers for weddings and parties, balloons, different colors and sizes, party dishes, different colors and sizes, gift wrap papers. We also do the following: rental services, chairs, tables, chair covers, table runners, and chair sarge. You can find them all. Models D Party Supply. Our quality products bring you in, and our low prices bring you back. That's why we are Models D Party Supplies. Contact us on Camp Johnson Road, Monrovia, Liberia, next to Yes Transport, or call us on 0777 671 814, 0886 777 665.
Black Hill Regional Park in Maryland comes alive on the 24th of July with an Independence Day country cook featuring a variety of Liberian DJs. Come and enjoy yourself to our Dummer special, juicy dry rice, pepper soup, and bitter leaf and fufu. Other DJs include rub potato greens, cassava leaf, rare oil potato greens, and so much more. Now, on the sideline of those dishes is the smell of our pepper color and roasted meat that will keep you salivating. Yes, it's the Independence Day Country Cook happening in Black Hill Regional Park, 20930 Lake Ridge. For inquiries and reservation, contact Makam Boyu on cell numbers 240-636-8994 or Malo Brople on 240-5516-742. If you are in the DMV area, you can't afford to miss it as it promises to be great. Come, let's dance to our favorite Liberian songs while we enjoy our favorite DJs.
See, I no time for check. This love make me shamanya. I'm a little baby, mama.
Are you looking for a place where to fix your keys if lost or damaged? Or are you thinking on how to duplicate your home, office, or car keys? Don't worry, because your worries are all over. AutoKey Liberia is the best solution to all of your problems. At AutoKey Liberia, we are specialized in all keys programs and professional in other keys and remotes of all techs. We are located at Say on Time Bourgeois Orland. Find us at Clever Mission Junction, ELW Community. For more information, you can call the following cell numbers: 0777-337-808 or 0886-530-512. Do business with AutoKey Liberia and thank me later.
Are you looking for a property to buy or rent? Are you a property owner and looking for a quick and suitable way to sell your properties? Are you looking for a house, an apartment, or land to buy in Liberia, West Africa? Look no further, because Superior Real Estate has all the solutions to your problems. They have beautiful acres of land and comfortable homes for you to buy now. Registered and incorporated, Superior Real Estate is bringing honest real estate transactions and a peace of mind to all their clients. Located in Pinzio, Superior Real Estate can be reached on 0880-544-111 or WhatsApp them on +231-775-87 Four says 10. You will not be disappointed. Superior Real Estate. Real estate you can trust.
We all know the headache we go through sending money to our loved ones, friends, and family in Liberia. High fees, long lines in banks, the usual complaint of the system being down, such a waste of time and energy. That is why I was very happy when I learned that SendWave is now in Liberia. So now I can send money anytime from anywhere directly from my smartphone to the MTN Lone Star Cell mobile money account of a loved one, friend, or family within seconds for just a tiny fee. So download SendWave now to your phone from your Apple Store or Google Play Store. Add your details, and don't worry, they are very safe and secure. And start sending money today. Don't forget to insert the promo code COSTA to get free $5 credit added to your first transfer. SendWave is secure, super fast, and by far the most affordable way to send money to Liberia. I'm Henry P. Costa and a very happy customer. Thank you.
All right, good morning and welcome to the program. You're listening to the nation's premier platform where we discuss the issues that matter. Today is July the 6th, Tuesday, 2021, and it's very good to be here. Good morning, Walker.
Good morning, Costa, and good morning to our many listeners home and abroad. Like you said, it's good to be with them here again on another edition of the Costa Morning Show.
It certainly is. Walker, what are the numbers, the COVID numbers?
Okay, so let me just go there.
Let's begin with that this morning, as we normally do since the pandemic, since this third wave, this new variant. Tell us what the numbers are. And
okay. So yesterday at 11:34 a.m., these were posted on the National Public Health Institute of Liberia website. It says total confirmed cases now in Liberia, we have 4,918 total confirmed cases, 48 new active confirmed cases it at 2,320. Then we have total death of 134 with one new death. Total recovery we have 2,464 with 53 new recovery. So that's just where we stand for now.
Thank you. At this time, we want to take a moment of silence. But before we do, I just want to convey my deepest condolences to the family, the Knuckles family, of Kirisburg, for the loss of Miss Howard Knuckles. She was the proprietress. Nobody really uses that word anymore. Of the Evelyn's Restaurant. She passed away yesterday, and it is believed that she died of COVID-19.
Wow.
And Howard Knuckles was a very hardworking lady. And she, her passing it's a big blow to so many people. And it's just very, very sad. I'm told the vaccinations have stopped because They currently have run out of vaccines. When the vaccines become available, I encourage you to take it. In the United States, yesterday I briefly watched the news, and they were talking about places where people are dying of COVID. They are mostly Southern or Republican states where many Republicans are refusing to take the vaccines for political, ideological reasons. And they're the ones who are dying the most. In fact, I saw a very interesting statistic of the COVID deaths here in America. It says 99% of those who died were people who did not take the vaccine. 99% of the dead are people who did not take the vaccine. You're talking states like Missouri, Louisiana, those deep red states. So when the vaccines become available, I'm told they're making efforts to get new doses in. I encourage our people to get another batch. I encourage our people to take it. The World Bank announced on the 30th of June, that's about a week ago, that they were going to procure and supply 360,000 doses of vaccine for Liberia. Now, right now, the most effective way we can contain this thing is to vaccinate. That is the most effective way we can. I can't think of any other way that is going to help us combat this thing, because this variant, which is no longer new, it's been around for a while, has spread and is continuing to spread. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can you do about it? It's already all over the place. You can now only protect yourself, wear a mask. I see a lot of you. I see pictures of people in Liberia wearing a mask.
Sure.
They put it right under there. They don't wear it properly. People don't cover their mouth and their nose. They just put a mask on and they pull it down under their chin. Our people are stubborn. You can't rely on them to protect themselves, because they will not protect themselves. They will not. And it is very, very sad.
So the government came up with some regulations that if anyone is caught without wearing masks in public gathering, you will be fined 1,000 LD or be placed behind bars. So that was just announced over the weekend by the Liberia National Police in collaboration with the Monrovia City Corporation. But talking about the vaccine, yesterday, Dr. Francis Kete revealed that there is a shortage of vaccine in the country.
They've run out of vaccine, period. There's no shortage.
Yeah.
Shortage is when you have limited supply of something. They don't have any. They've run out of it completely, Bagai.
Yeah, so he said that of those that took their first dose of the vaccine, they are finding it difficult to get a second one because there is no vaccine now in the country. So that was just what he said yesterday.
But let me tell you something, Bagai. When you have, they had 76, how many? They had 90,000 doses of the vaccine. I think 90 or 96,000 doses.
96.
That's what the government had under the COVAX program. 96,000 doses. So you know that each person has to take 2 shots. So you divide 96,000 into 2. But apparently, they were giving the vaccines to everyone, to people, without keeping in mind that each person has to take 2 doses. And they didn't have any plans to have more vaccines come in. So they were just giving the vaccines to people without plans. So now they've run out of vaccines. How you know you got 96,000 doses? 96,000 doses should be divided into 2 because each person takes two shots. But we're just giving the shots to people with no plans as to when additional vaccines would come in. Now we have a situation where people who took their 1 shot, they can't take their 2nd shot because they've run out of vaccines.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that, but I think that planning was not proper. It didn't make sense. It did not. So I don't understand that. But we hope to see when the World Bank will bring in those vaccines that they promised, that they say they've already procured or they're procuring. Now, let's go to the Liberian Immigration Service. The Deputy for Operations, I believe that's opposition, Abigail Wissett. About 2 weeks ago, or over a week ago, I received this information that a plane carrying which brought into the country at least about 100 Turks. People from Turkey are the ones they call Turks. About 100 citizens of Turkey. The plane landed at RIA, and the immigration folks processed them and let them into the country. Now, it is said that that plane also carried a number of Turks, and it was a chartered flight. It was a chartered flight. You understand?
Yeah.
It was a chartered flight. They brought in workers for MNG Gold. MNG Gold is a Turkish-owned gold mining company operating out in Bong County. MNG Gold. So the plane brought in people and took people out. Abigail Wissett. Now, this is no ESA or DC because the executive mansion has confirmed this.
Sure.
Deputy immigration boss for operations, I believe. She signed the visas for those people to be allowed into the country. It is said that 3 of the people, at least 3 of them, tested positive for COVID, but they were let into the country anyhow. That is why she got suspended by the president.
Yeah, it was on Thursday of last week.
Thursday was when she got suspended. She got suspended because she let in people from Turkey. Some of them tested positive for corona. Now, Abigail is George Weah's girlfriend. I've known that for a while now. She is incompetent, and it is said that she was taken care of. They bribed her. Okay?
Wow.
That's why she signed the visas. She issued the visas to the Turkish workers. Abigail N. Wissett. She's George Weah's girlfriend. They go way back. He suspended her. That what she did warrants dismissal, outright dismissal. Because they had said no flights should be allowed from certain places.
Yeah.
And I think Turkey was one of those countries on the list. But she let them in, including people who tested positive for COVID-19. Yeah. Now, fellow Liberians, last week I did a podcast. It was actually on Thursday, and then I subsequently appeared on Spoon Talk. I offered my apologies for the information I provided about the president's trip to France, which turned out to be inaccurate, at least to some extent. And we apologize for that. But there are certain things here that turned out to be accurate about what we said. Did the president speak? Did you watch the president speak at the program, at the forum?
Nope. Nope.
But the executive mansion announced that the president was going to speak.
I did not see any video of him speaking.
I did not see him speak. Even though they announced it that he was going to speak, he didn't speak. Fine, that's inconsequential. But there's another element. Monday morning, was it Monday? Was it yesterday? No, I believe it was Sunday. Which day did George Weah return to the country?
Sunday. It was Sunday.
It was on Sunday.
Yeah.
So Sunday morning, I watched my time. The president's plane land on the tarmac. I was watching on Facebook. The plane touched down. His folks were there as usual to receive him. And then I saw the French ambassador. I saw the French ambassador at the airport. Then I saw a truck. This is all live. I was watching it live. I saw the truck where the test kits the French had provided for testing, COVID-19 test kits. In the truck. Okay, the government made it look like the president's trip to France was successful because we got test kits from the French people. But that's a lie. The test kits did not come as a result of the trip. The guys have absolutely no scruples. They can lie. The test kits were already in country. The French had ever since donated the test kits. These guys literally took these test kits, which were still sealed, or at least some of them, the ones I saw, in these large wooden crates, sealed. They put them in a truck, they load them onto a truck, and they drove it to RIA for the French ambassador to do a turning over ceremony of test kits that had ever since been brought into the country. They took it to the airport because they wanted to do a ceremony to justify to the Liberian people, NLC, see how successful the man's trip was? He brought test kits from France. I saw the thing, I said, what is wrong with these people? Well, they say he actually came on Saturday, not Sunday. Saturday. So I saw the test kits in the truck, and we've got photos.
Yep, I was confused, Costa, because the charter flight and all of those material coming from in that particular flight, I was confused.
No, they didn't come out of the plane. That flight is not a cargo flight. It did not bring those huge wooden crates. I watched the thing. I saw. So the man made the people drive the test kits to the airport. made them drive the test kits to the airport in a truck so that they will have the ceremony at the airport. Now, there's a letter from the French. Did you see that letter, Wagai?
Yeah, I saw it.
A diplomatic note. Did you see the date on that particular diplomatic note? Hold on. The French donated, okay, this is the diplomatic note. January, February, March, April, May, June. So this is June 28th. This is the date on this. So the test kits were already in Liberia, even before the president went to Paris.
Yes.
The test kits were in town. You see that? The French donated the test kits. They had arrived in Liberia before President Weah went to France. But the president is embarrassed, or at least he's pretending to be concerned that people are complaining that he went on a useless trip to France when his people are dying of COVID. So they drove the test kits in the huge wooden crates to RRA, and they had a ceremony. And the French ambassador was there. And I saw the thing, I said, what? Did this man make these people drive these test kits in a truck to the airport? So that they can have a ceremony at the airport, so that they can try to justify that his trip to France was successful, even though the test kits were already in Liberia, even before he departed for France on Monday morning last week. This man went to France on Monday and returned on Saturday. How many days? 6 days. With 30-something people in France for 6 days. Now, France is a very expensive place. Paris, especially where they were. Now, we also saw the man, he visited his son's academy, his son's football club. The club his son plays for. Is it Lille? Baga? Which team does Timothy Weah play for? Lille, right?
Lily.
Yeah, I think they call it Leo, not Lily or something like that. Talking about French word. I think it's Lilo. Is it not Lilo? I think it's something like that. But hey, did you see the man? He went there, he was speaking la French. I said, I said, the man can't even speak English good. Then not French, he will be able to speak good. He went there to see his son. Because they were celebrating, I think they won the French championship, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, they did. And they had a whole program. But the point is, this man made these people, and I watched the thing, I was like, what? So the French ambassador had to put himself through that nonsense? To drive to the airport with gifts that had already been brought into the country to do a ceremony at the airport just to please George Weah? Jesus.
Yeah, but I think about the people that are donating it. They themselves to agree that this is how, if the government tells us this is how we want you guys to do it, so they themselves agree that we will follow the government force. Is it because they want to donate to us or what? That's my point.
No, I mean, diplomacy. People can be pissed off and yet they will do something because it's called diplomacy. The man goes to France, his people are complaining. Something that Macron had already given to us, he makes a big deal of it as if to say he had just secured it from Macron. And then what does he do? He makes the French ambassador drive to the airport with test kits that were already in the country. I mean, I saw the thing, I was like, what? Wow, George Weah. They extend the goal just to make this good-for-nothing man feel good. It's just sad. Now, I got a call from some LEC workers, some of the officials of the workers' union. The LEC workers are very, very unhappy about the way things are at LEC. They told me that on Friday, one of their colleagues by the name of Jacob Suba Dukle suddenly died in a rather unfortunate manner. Jacob Dukle was the head of a crew, a transmission and distribution crew. They're the guys who do the transmission and distribution. They connect, they expand connection and provide, yeah. So Jacob Dukle went to work as he did every day, went to his computer and opened up and saw an email containing a letter of dismissal.
Wow.
From the head of safety, some white dude called Jason. They're from the company that was contracted to manage LEC, ESBR as they're called. Jacob Dukle opened his email. Upon seeing the letter of dismissal, Jacob collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital and he was pronounced dead on arrival. Wow. Yeah. He was fired. Why was Jacob fired? Jacob had led a team of workers, had led his crew to install 3 single-phase units at one of the LEC's big commercial customers. And according to Jason, the head of safety, Jason said the work that Jacob Dukle should not have installed those units, those particular units. Jacob Dukle said, this is a work order. I received the work order from the commercial department. Now, the people in T&D, those guys out in the field who do connections and all that kind of stuff, they don't do anything on their own. They have to receive a work order. A work order has to come from the commercial department. It is based on that work order that they go out to make connections or to do any kind of work. Even though Jacob Dukle could show the work order, which specifically stated that 3 single-phase units be installed, which he did, Jason went ahead and fired Jacob Dukle anyhow. You know, Bogai, some people are faint-hearted. They are not strong.
Yeah.
Some people, small thing can knock them out. Jacob Dukle died from frustration. So the guys were just telling me, Mr. Costa, this is the extent to how we have been harassed and molested by these ESBR folks, especially this Jason guy. Now the workers hate Jason. Said Jason is bad, Jason is heavy-handed, Jason does this, Jason does that. So Jacob Dukle is a dead man because he simply did a piece of job according to the work order, and Jason fired him for that. And apparently, okay, Jacob was like, you take the job from me, how am I going to support my kids? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Some people ain't want to take that thing, okay?
Yeah.
Some people can't take it. You fire them from a job, they get frustrated, they die. You know the time already hard. Okay?
Yeah.
The time is already hard. So Jacob Dukle died. So the workers have come to me and they said, Costa, we need you to talk about this. We're getting help. A few weeks ago, we received a memo from LEC where the management said that they were cutting the salaries of the employees by 30% across the board. 30% across the board. Why? They said the corporation is not doing so well, and if they must maintain salaries as they are, then they would have to lay some people off. So they had a choice: lay some people off or cut the salaries by 30%. Okay.
Yeah.
And they made a decision to cut the salary by 30%. You know what I mean? You're working somewhere, they call your pay by 30%. That is a deep cut, okay?
Very deep.
30%. So how is it that LEC is doing so badly? A number of reasons. The number one of which is that most of the power, or at least half of the power that's been produced and fed to the national grid, or to their modicum of a national grid, is been stolen. Power theft. Power theft to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. Now, the LEC workers told me about this guy. They say he's a Nigerian guy. His name is Peter. He was contracted by LEC to do some work for them. And they say this guy makes a killing. He does illegal connections. He makes a lot of money, and the workers don't like him. They don't like him at all. Yeah, Mohammed Corner just told me that he knew the late Jacob Dugley, our youth chair. He said Jacob Dugley used to live in the Johnsonville community, and he helped a few years ago to get Johnsonville community connected. He helped.
Wow.
Jacob Dugley has died. Clyde Edward Tumeyer says that he knew Jacob. Well, Clyde confirms what Brother Mohammed Corner just said, that Jacob did live in the Johnsonville community. Well, Brother Clyde, Jacob is dead. Jacob received a letter of dismissal, and apparently it was not a good time for Jacob. You know, Waga, sometimes you're dealing with certain personal issues, man.
Yeah.
You're fighting some demons, Waga. Maybe your wife is sick, or your kids are sick, or the rent is due, or tuition is due, and you're dealing with that, and then you get fired. And what for? For simply doing a work order. I wonder how Jason feels that Jacob died after he fired him for doing something that the work order from the commercial department said he should do. But again, Margaret, some people don't care.
They don't care.
You fired a man for doing a piece of job that he was instructed to do. Now he left his family behind. He's gone. How do you feel? Jason, I'm pretty sure Jason does not care. From the things that I hear about him, he does not care. So now let's move on to something else. Again, I want to say to Jacob Dugley's family, my sympathy. This is the country we got here. Our own people don't respect our own workers. What do you expect of foreigners, especially white people, when dealing with our own people? I'm sorry, but nothing will come of it. You've lost your son, your brother, your husband. He's gone for nothing because he was fired, wrongfully dismissed for simply doing what a work order said. Very sad. Now, Mr. Weah spoke over the weekend, I believe, when he returned. I read the headline, one of those newspapers. I'm still trying to get the full story. Now, if somebody has it, please share with me. Mr. Weah said the critics of his government are the devils in human form, or they are devils in human form. That's what George Weah is said to have said, according to the Analyst newspaper. Now, I'm still trying to find out. That I saw the headline. I need to read the story. Did he really say that? Did Weah really say? Now, it does not surprise me at all, but did Weah really say that we, the critics of his government, are devils in human form. I'm like, what? I saw the story. I was like, what? Did he just say that? Of course. Why would that surprise me? Because this man has labeled us as enemies of the state. Okay?
Yeah, so doesn't
Exactly. How much difference is enemy of the state versus, or enemy of the state and devil in human form? Not very dissimilar. But why? So this man thinks that we are his problem? Does he not know that he is his own problem? That he hops onto a private jet and flies into France for a conference he never speaks at? You know what somebody told me about that? Somebody told me, Costa, your information about Weir's trip to France was not incorrect. But here is what happened. After you had announced that Weir was not going to be well received, he was not supposed to speak, he was not invited, and that Macron was not going to meet with him, I am told by this person, and I'm not attaching too much premium to this, but I'm just sharing it with you. Now, try to make sense of it yourself. The person said to me, Costa, we are made a lot of last-minute diplomatic efforts to try to meet Macron and to try to appear at that place and take pictures. Costa, you see why the man didn't speak? But I'm coming. I know the point you're trying to make. The person said, you see why the man didn't speak? Because he was not meant to speak.
Yeah.
So even though they made last-minute efforts to get him to take picture and all I can say and meet with Macron, but speaking was something that they did not succeed at getting that one done. He was not meant to speak. The person said, now, why would they be announcing something that Macron had already given us ever since? After that meeting with Macron? Because the meeting was nothing but a formality meeting. Nothing new was announced.
Sure.
What the government announced after the Macron meeting was something that was already in Liberia. So the announcement was not consistent with the meeting. The meeting was nothing but a formality. It was a photo op. Now you may make your point, but I want to continue on that point right there. Make your point.
Yeah, because the last time you and I were on the show, I told you that when you said, oh, the men are not going to meet Macron, I told you the issue about diplomacy and the weird LEC administration, the guys can spend any amount of money to get anything done. That was what, if you can remember, I told you on the show.
Yeah.
Once
you did say that.
Once they want to disprove you, Harry Costa, for making you look ugly to the public, that guy, I told you that they will spend any amount of money just to make we see Macron and take a photo and post it.
Yeah.
And that's just what they did.
Bagay, do you remember something, Bagay? Do you remember something? Larry, good morning, brother. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Costa, Boykai, can you guys hear me loud and clear?
We can hear you clear, but not loud enough.
Not loud enough.
Let me adjust it real quick.
Okay. Bagay, you notice something?
This may be too loud.
It's okay now, Larry.
It's okay now.
After we announced, after I did our podcast and announced that Weir was not going to see Macron and he was not invited, he was not going to speak at the forum. Did you notice something? The entire CDC, the entire delegation was conspicuously and alarmingly quiet.
Sure.
Now, apparently, at that time, they were already in France. Right? So the thing was, I was getting concerned, but why are you guys so quiet?
No photo.
Apparently, Larry, those boys were behind the scenes and on their knees, groveling.
I don't know, man. It wasn't even worth it, you know. But you see, here's the thing. I gave credit to the gender minister. She spoke well. I'll give her credit. She spoke well. And I think the fact that she was doing it remotely means she could have even done it from Liberia. But besides the point, she spoke well.
Oh, no. So, Larry, I think you go back to that point. Make it more effective. Yeah, Pisota did speak. She did speak at the conference, at the forum, but she did it from her room in the hotel.
Right.
Larry shared the video with me.
Yeah, I was watching it and I put it on Costa Show. So what was the value? And I noticed I see a lot of people posting stuff saying, you know, this is what the president brought back. What was it? About 30 million, 20 something million? What was it?
No, he didn't bring any money, Larry.
Yeah. But I mean,
the
what was
test kits
promised?
were already in Liberia before he even left.
So what was promised Liberia? Because they were making a huge scene about this amount was promised Liberia by Macron. What was the amount?
No, for me,
no. What? Go on, Walker.
Yeah, but you know, the things were promised Liberia, but it was not in the public. It was not in the public. So they make it look like, oh, when I'm coming back from France, we can now make it public and many people believe that this is what I'm bringing with me from France. That was why they did a donation.
Larry, because those things are already in country.
Yeah. So let me put in perspective for everyone so they can understand why the trip in of itself. The purpose of the Gender Equality Forum was great. You know, it was great, but sometimes you have to question when you have these developed nations trying to do something for, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say poor people. But in addition to that, you also have to take into consideration what is the return on the investment of making the trip, right? So, Costa, let me put it in perspective. In the 3 years that we didn't get to meet Trump, do you know how much Liberia received from the US government? $667 million. He didn't get to meet Trump. He received $667 million. France doesn't have that kind of relationship with Liberia. When France give money or make donations, it's usually to the Francophone countries. They give money to places like Morocco. They give money to countries that have close ties. Exactly, Cote d'Ivoire. Boyka is on point. That's where France give money to. They don't have that close relationship with Liberia. So despite we are not even meeting Trump, Liberia received over $500 million in foreign assistance from the US. So that means you don't have to go to another country to get that money in foreign aid. You can do it. And the reason why it is so impactful is the State Department put Liberia on a level 4 threat. There are 4 levels when it comes to COVID-19 or travel restrictions, right? There are 4 levels. 1 being the lowest, 4 being the highest. Liberia is on a level 4 right now, red. Not just the State Department, but the African CDC also has Liberia on a level 4. Why? Because right after May, June, COVID-19 has spiked in Liberia. It's gotten worse. So the US State Department has put a do not travel to Liberia. This is where, and I go back again to the conversation we had the last time when the critics and I said made a statement that CDC was calling for President Sirleaf to cancel her trip to Italy. This is where you show leadership. And it goes both ways, because I know we see the senator from Montserrat, the senator for Grand Bassa out there also, I don't know what they're actually doing, but doing their little photo ops. So it goes both ways, you know, the leadership has to be there, you know. So what are you going to bring back? So say, for example, the senator from Montserrat will go to the US, he raises $25,000 in donations. How much did it cost him to travel over there? What is it going to be? What?
Well, he did. I'm sure you just throwing out hypothetical.
I'm just throwing it out. He didn't raise that money. I'm just throwing it out. So please, don't go start saying Dylan, you know, flew first this class and he raised 25,000. Please don't say that. But yeah, so 667 million or 600 and something million Liberia received, and we never got a chance to meet President Trump. So the money is still coming in. So my question,
because, Larry, some of these aid packages or the aid programs through USAID, they were already in the works. They were already structured, institutionalized aid. It's not going to stop just because some Joe Blow is in power.
Exactly. You know, but even, and that's the case. These things are the OECD countries, right? Organizations for Economic Cooperation countries, meaning the European countries, they have this money in the pipeline to help these underdeveloped countries. The South African president didn't have to travel to France for South Africa, for the pharmaceutical company in South Africa to get over $500 million from the IMF. You know there's a pharmaceutical company in Africa that received over $500 million from the IMF?
No, I didn't know that. What for? For them to manufacture cheap vaccines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Manufacturing vaccine.
Exactly. He didn't have to travel to France to get that. He didn't have to travel to the US to get that. He did his presentation virtually, like everybody else.
I did see that. The president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Yeah.
Ramaphosa, he did it virtually. So this is where, people have to give the president, unless the president went there for some other reason. But if it was just for the forum, then it really doesn't make any sense, right?
Because he didn't even get to speak, Larry.
That's the point. Exactly. So why was he actually there?
Not even virtually. He did not speak at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you question the return on investment for the trip.
And then here's the thing, Larry. Then he says, then they announced, Macron promised 23 million, but you will give it through the African Development Bank. Does that make sense, Larry?
No.
That's what the government said in their official statement. They said Macron promised 23 million euros, but that money will be given through the African Development Bank.
Mm-hmm.
How can somebody promise a whole country money,
right,
and then say it's going to go through
the AFDB?
Yeah, the AFDB. Yeah. It does not make sense.
No. How much is Liberia getting from the U.S. that has close relationship in 2021? $56 million. That's what they're getting. It's still double what Macron is promising. But I don't know. The supporters for the administration, they won't want to hear this because. But here's another thing. I don't want to take too much of your time, Costa. But here's the thing. Why is it that governance in the country right now has centered around the president doing photo op with foreign leaders? Anyone ever take a step back and say, why is this so important to travel and just take a photo op? Is this how we measure development these days? We're not looking at the infant mortality. We're not looking at women dying because they have to travel 5 miles just to give birth. We're not looking at the infrastructure. We're measuring progress and developing the country simply by the president being able to stand next to Emmanuel Macron, who recently got slapped, by the way, just to do a photo op, right?
What does that tell you? You already know the answer to that question. What does that tell you?
Yeah, it's a rhetorical question because I think we pretty much know that. Yeah, because we pretty much know that. It stems,
Larry, from a situation where these guys think that it's such a big deal for them. So it stems from having low self-esteem. You're a whole president of a whole country, regardless of how poor you are. But you're the president anyhow. And it's such a big deal that you take pictures. Hey, this man is a celebrity. It's not like he hadn't met world leaders. This man met Mandela. And you were so excited as president to be taking pictures with another president. And it's a big deal. Isaac, I mean, where does this come from? From a global celebrity?
They want to disprove you, Costa.
Are we talking about the crumbs? Like, what kind of redemption can they get from this experience? Is that what we're talking about?
Isaac, you have to adjust. You are coming in a little faintly. You're coming a little faint.
Let me try and get my volume up a little bit.
And you're right, Costa. Is a celebrity. I can remember several years ago, it was We Are versus the World. They had a tournament at the Giant Stadium over in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. How many people can have a soccer tournament in the U.S. at Giant Stadium? It was George Weah versus the world, and he brought all these celebrities out. So he's well known. We love him for his sports. We love for what he brought to Liberia in terms of recognition on the sports side. But on the diplomacy side, he needs more competent people to give him better advice. And that's what they're hurting right now.
How long? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How long will we keep singing the same song that we are need better people? We are himself said it before he got to power. I'm not the most educated. I don't understand this, blah, blah, blah. I will have qualified Liberians around me. He said that. But he has reneged on that promise. And I don't see him changing because he is so deeply involved with those that he has put around him. How he removes himself without any personal damage, I don't understand. I don't see how. I don't understand how. So, it's a tough situation for him.
I just got the Analyst newspaper, The link for the story where we was talking about me here in this story. I'm gonna read it. This is what he said. The story reads: Fresh from his visit to the Republic of France, reportedly upon the invitation of French President Emmanuel Macron to participate in the 2021 Generation Equality Forum, President George M. Weah has descended on his critics and those whom he considers naysayers for saying that he would never have met President Macron. I mean, guys, this is something the president responds to, Isaac. For Christ's sake, this idiot. And when I call him an idiot, and some of you are concerned, the president responds, oh, and I say, I will not meet Macron. I met Macron. What I get to say? Are you kidding me?
But there's no other substance. There's nothing. I'm serious, you know. For the trivial is what they focus on. And I made a little comment the other day. I said the opposition and the ruling position, they don't focus on the substantive things. It's just the trivial stuff.
Yeah. And so let me read further now, guys. This is on Sunday at his church where he preached.
Isn't there an African country that requires preachers then to have degree to have certification?
Rwanda. Kagame shut down many churches because the pastors don't have license.
Yes.
Let me read further. Speaking from the pulpit of the Foke Claw Family Fellowship Church during its July 4th Sunday divine worship service, President Weah said he has serious problem with Liberians who listen to lies, that if traveled to France for the generations, he would never have been given the opportunity and to observe. Because that's me talking about here. Quote, these are his words. Quote, that's the problem I have with the Liberian people. People who made that statement are not in the news, so they want to get back in the news. I'm not in the news. I want to get back in the news. That's what Doria says. So that's why I lied. Okay. They lie on this man to make news. It does not make sense. I'm a president invited by another president. Then you say the president will not see me. It never happened anywhere because the communication was not sent. Was sent to me came directly from the president of the Republic of France. You know about my relationship with President Macron. When I was a footballer, Excellences Macron, Jacques Chirac, Sarkozy were people that I interacted with. Now, isn't that what we just said? He met some of these people when he played football. Why is he so excited to be taking pictures with them today? Then he goes further. The Prince of Monaco is my best friend. Man, everybody is best friend. You saw me with the great Nelson Mandela. He goes on, guys, in the church. In the church. Then he goes on, he said, you say I am a feminist in chief. They invited me to go attend a forum for women equality in France. Now everybody is criticizing me. And you have joined them. Even some women join you to criticize why the president was traveling to France. It is the same women here in Liberia that are crying for equal representation in society. George Weah is saying women of all people should not criticize him for attending the forum because attending the forum benefits women. Guys, listen to that. I said, what do you say?
I say his reasoning is primitive. Joshua does not understand optics. He does not understand the issues. And he does not understand what the priority is for him as a president versus a celebrity. And that's something he has to grasp, something they have to explain to him what his role really is. If you ask George Weah to define feminism, I doubt if he can define feminism for you.
He does not know the meaning of it, I'm sure.
I think the problem is they don't seem to have the priority straight.
Nope.
They don't have the priority straight because less than 1% of the population have been vaccinated against COVID. Less than 1%. What is more important? Vaccinating your people right now, being at the forefront of this disease, vaccinating your people, or going to do a photo op with Macron? We need to have our priorities straight. 2% of the population in Sierra Leone has been vaccinated against COVID. Still horrible, still horrendous. They have doubled Liberia. When you look at the 3 countries afflicted with Ebola, you should be more concerned about, hey, wait a second, why haven't we strengthened our healthcare system? You know, Costa mentioned a young man recently passed away because he received a letter, email that he was fired. in most places, if you suffer like a heart attack or you suffer some stress related, you can get treatment. Our healthcare system is deplorable. That's why we have a level 4. So the priorities, when you balance it out, the priorities is just not straight.
Guys, I'm sorry I have to bring this back up. I'm very sorry. The President of the Republic, in the face of a level 4 COVID crisis in his church, telling the people to not listen, that he's disappointed because they listened to a talk show host who said I knew the people then before our president. I knew the other man. The other man are my best friend. Are you kidding me, guys? Seriously?
That's how we measure. That's how we measure governance. That's how we measure development. Because Henry Costa was on the air and saying you're not going to meet. So, you call in the troops. You'll make it happen.
You'll make it happen. You finally made it happen. Now you're bragging.
Yeah. But how many people get to meet Macron at the forum who didn't have an appointment? A lot of people met him. You don't need an appointment.
I saw a lot of people taking pictures with Macron. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's a photo obsession, But again,
show me something different. Show me something substantive that we are focused on.
There's nothing.
Will not be his moral victory. That's his victory.
Yeah. I mean, look, the COVID thing is going to have a downstream effect because it's going to impact everybody in the country, not just the people who are getting sick and dying. Because what's going to happen is there's going to be an economic impact to COVID.
No question.
There's going to be an economic impact.
Ebola economic impact or the fallout.
And the economic impact will it will harm everybody in the country. So we need to be focused on, slowing this thing down. We just heard, I think Costa mentioned yesterday or the day before yesterday, how Knuckles passed away. Yeah, and my condolences to the family. But there are a lot of people dying in Liberia. I mean, I can get into the numbers and say on a per capita basis, meaning per 100,000 people, the numbers is relatively small, but no. The fact that it's rising right now, it should be me concerned because we saw this before. We've seen this movie. We saw it in 2013, December. Ebola came into the country. By 2014, it was out of control. And what was the main reason? There was an article in the New York Times saying people were dying in Liberia because we didn't have latex gloves. Look at what's the reason today. People dying because what? We don't have masks?
We're not enforcing rules.
And we received $1.5 billion from the US government because in 2014, Obama went all out. He sent out about $532 million to Liberia. Over the stretch of time from 2014 to about 2017, Liberia received $1.5 billion to strengthen the economy, the healthcare sector. Where is that money going?
And that's why when the government came to power, we were saying hold the previous government accountable. There's no inventory of what happened during Ebola. Today, we are facing limitation in our healthcare system. We don't
serious chronic diseases.
But they will come because people they lag in the numbers. We get them later on. They've been spiking. 190 more new cases, 211 new cases. I put the graph on the screen of that increase, that sharp increase. So the active cases are increasing, the confirmed cases are increasing. At what point do you really say, this is the plan, this is what we are doing, and we are moving this thing back, we are aggressively attacking this thing. We have our best on board to work with us in the healthcare sector. They're not doing that. They are not focusing on what needs to happen. And they are just hoping maybe that things will just disappear or something good will happen.
It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Isaac. Are we still thinking about disappearing of a virus? Doesn't work that way.
Hope and what's the phrase? Hope is not a strategy, right?
No, it's not a strategy. When did coronavirus start? When did it start in Liberia?
In February of 2020. The first reported case by the African CDC, it was in February of 2020 that the African CDC reported the first case in Liberia.
Okay. So it has had waves, right? And those waves are impactful because when the waves come, everything basically dies down, comes to a stall in the economy. Then you try to restart and you don't have the resources to fully restart an economy because there are so many losses that happen. It's just that because our economy does not track data, it does not track employment properly. It does not track new businesses. It does not track how people enter and exit. So we don't see those stock numbers that other countries, developed countries or countries that track data have that's showing how the economy are flowing with it. But we are being affected significantly. Some people can't go to work. Some people can't get a job. You know, their little hustle is not going to happen. So a lot of things will be worse. And then the funding you got for this coronavirus, for stabilization, for economic recovery, no accountability again. So when you know the questions are so many for
come here, buddy.
President Weah and his team.
Why you let them get out of
It's just
bed?
sad that they have no answers, that they are offering nothing to the people. Right now, did you guys hear Ms. Van E plea?
Come, son.
Did you guys see that video?
Which video?
With Dana Van E talking about she went for her second shot and she didn't, there was nothing there, and she was making a personal plea to President George Weah.
Yep, there's no vaccine in the country, people.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what he said. There's no vaccine. So instead of on Sunday trying to be with his inner team and focusing on all the different places they could potentially get vaccine flown in immediately from, he's there in a church talking about basically Henry Costa.
Can you imagine that? Me, insignificant me, the president of the republic?
Back in the day, we told them the strategy is not to focus on Dylan or Costa. You don't get the guy there for nothing moral in this country. But they won't listen because the little small thing that you say touches him, a juke in his skin, you know, and he got to react. You can't use the puppet as a bully puppet. That's not what the word of God is for.
No.
No.
He only throws shades from the puppet, Larry. What is it with him and the puppet? Why he thinks it gives him a degree of believability and seriousness?
Yes, because God behind him, so it's representing something significant. Otherwise, it's blabber, it's nothing. And that's the sad part.
That's why the man goes to church and he preaches about, well, it's not the first time. And he literally tells the people that the program got with y'all. Y'all sit down there, y'all believe people. Now, there's another thing he said in the church on Sunday that caught my attention. He said, guys, the opposition people, they are politicizing the COVID-19. How are we? Guys, please tell me. How are we politicizing COVID?
Anything that deals with the people is politics related. So people need to understand the definition of politics, right? If it deals with the population as a whole, it's politics. But that's even besides the point. The government needs to step up to the plate, show leadership, come out there, show people that, first of all, you have taken the vaccine, so people don't be afraid of it. We've only received 96,000 doses. Yeah,
and we've run out.
That's nothing, right? For the little under 5 million people. That's why we have what, 0.94%, less than 1% of the population receiving the vaccine. We need to do a little bit more. But I don't want to throw too much focus on the virus, but a couple of other things happened over the past week, and I want to make sure I mention this before I forget. The testimony related to the War Crimes Court. In there was a statement made by Representative Chris Smith. And this goes back to some of the things that Costa has mentioned before. Representative Chris Smith said there were people in Liberia who have been vehemently criticizing him. As a result, it has empowered him, emboldened him to now make the War Crimes Court in Liberia happen.
People the likes of Carlos Gray.
Right. So people criticizing Representative Smith, and first of all, the people out there, the panelists, Yacinda Martin, Freddie, and those guys, then, they did well, extremely well. But you're criticizing the man who set up the Globe MAC legislation. You have no common sense. Why would you do that? There's over 100 and something people this guy have sanctioned. Chris Smith is very powerful, but they weren't paying attention to this stuff. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that before it.
No, but there's something to geopolitics that if you don't understand, you don't understand how teams work. You don't understand who are the power players. You don't understand how players in another government function, especially a government that you basically are leech on, the U.S. government.
The U.S. government, yeah.
And if you don't understand how they function, how the Senate committees, the House committees, how powerful they are, and
they take them for job.
You lose out. You think just the palaver hot noise can be a solution to these things. It's not. And we need more understanding of what's going on around us and how we are perceived as a people, and try to rectify some of those things.
I mentioned that to post to Kara's Gray, and he said, "Oh, Larry, you don't know anything about geopolitics. You don't know anything about how the U.S. government operates." I said, "Bro, you know it all."
Speaking of the U.S. Congress, my source told me, my contact told me yesterday that a statement. Congress is currently on break for, of course, 4th of July break. It's a very short break. They're going to be back in office sometime this week, or maybe, that they're going to issue a statement after the hearing they had, and they're going to put out a very strongly worded statement. The statement was edited to capture the response of the Senate to the hearing, because the response of the Senate was put out a day after the hearing on the 22nd of June. So the statement will be out. So I just want to announce that a statement is coming from Congress, and it's very firm, and it will be out in the coming days. Yeah.
That's strong. I mean, we kind of know what we can expect. The people have taken a position that there has to be accountability. We talk about accountability. We talk about transparency. Unfortunately, we don't operate like that. Even with this particular, you see, people think transparency is just finding corrupting. No, it's being able to effectively communicate in an open fashion with your people. What is actually happening in healthcare? What is Wilhelmina Jala seeing? What are the different things she and her people are working on? How can they ease people's fears? And sometimes that also is on the national head. George Weah, he needs to come back. He came back from that conference. What has he talked about on COVID? Did he mention COVID in our church service?
No, he did not. All he said is people politicizing and Costa saying that I was not going to meet Macron, and yeah.
And people want to know. People are. I mean, this is real now. Unlike Ebola, where the so-called quote-unquote elites were not dying, we have heard about people in the middle-income people in Liberia and the high-level people in Liberia dying.
That's the thing, guys. I want us to talk about that. Let's look at that. The people who are dying now, Larry and Isaac and Boakai, they're not just ordinary people. They're well-to-do people with money, people who are okay. They're dying. Unlike Ebola that killed mostly ordinary poor people.
And
a quick question: was Ebola airborne?
No, it was not.
Ebola wasn't airborne.
It was not. It was not.
That's the key difference in this virus, because it's airborne. And if you're not properly protecting yourself, and we don't do the social distancing in Liberia, right?
No, we don't know what that is. We don't know what it is.
Liberia is very touchy people.
It's very touchy feely.
No, we are. It makes you feel close to people.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we are.
In a space, we want to be connected. If you're talking to somebody, you're all together like that. And that's just how we are as a people, touchy-feely. So, for us to move away from that with all strong awareness, enforcement, and really pounding the message to the people in so many different dialects, in so many different ways.
And the president has to lead the charge on that, guys.
He is supposed to. He is supposed to. Why? People think Biden, who are all weak letter and stuff, he can show it for them to gain vaccination. Because he wants people to understand that is the way to go. I'm your leader. I'm taking this vaccination. Just
yesterday, I heard him say, Biden, they were talking about the numbers of 47 point something million, percent of this country's population, they've been vaccinated completely. And 303 million doses have been administered. And I heard Biden say yesterday, it's a patriotic duty to get vaccinated.
There you go.
Tomorrow they're having, which is today, he's meeting with his team, his task force, and they're going to be briefing him on the status of COVID-19. And he's also going to use the opportunity to make remarks again about the situation and encourage people to take their vaccines. Now, the president of the United States, they just announced job numbers, 3 million jobs created since Biden came to office. That number could be significantly higher if many Americans or many people in this country were taking jobs. The jobs are available. A lot of people don't want to go to work because of the unemployment benefits, guys. What about that? A friend of mine came to see me the other day and was sitting down drinking and lecture, and we're talking about using Mr. Mohamed Costa. Our company, we're struggling to get people. We got 6 or 7 openings. We're trying to hire people. Now we're paying people $800 a signing bonus to get a job. People don't want to work because they're paying them unemployment benefits.
Henry,
look at the contrast between that and us, guys, Liberia.
The thing is simple math, Henry. If you can get 80% or even 70% of what you were making when you were busting your butt all over the place, okay, you can get it.
So now you can go sit down home and get 80% of that.
Thank you.
I can live without the other 20%.
Exactly. So that's what happened. And then there's also the psychological effect. When people stay away from work, the tendency for them to go back to work is limited. You know, I used to work in disability. And people, the study is there, the underwriting, the actuarial studies are there that people really would not want to go back to work, you know, after they go through that experience, you know. So
let me take a step back. Why do you guys think that Biden, I mean, there are several reasons, but what do you think is one of the underlying reasons why Biden had to come up front and take that vaccine? What are some of the, and maybe I should just tell you my opinion, or you guys want to?
Yeah, sure. Please do check.
So, go ahead.
So first of all, it's to kind of prove that the vaccine is safe, but also because the minorities in this country do not trust the government because of the Tuskegee experiment, right? So the Tuskegee experiment back in the 1930s, where the U.S. Health Department was infecting Black people with syphilis to see how the disease transmit over a period of time, and they told the participants one thing, but then they did something else. So that study ran all the way up to the early 70s, if I remember correctly. So that's why a lot of Black people just didn't trust the government and didn't want to take the vaccine.
That's it.
Right. So, but all of that has changed because that whole experiment was debunked. But this is another reason why Biden had to come up front and say, look, this thing is safe. Let me take it. So now fast forward, it is the same thing happening in Africa right now. People are spreading misinformation about the vaccine. They're spreading a lot of misinformation, and some of the leaders in the country don't want to take the vaccine. And we talk about this. The president
doesn't want to take it.
Right. So
that's why photo of guys. Conspicuously, we have not seen any photo of him taking the vaccine.
Right. This is why we're telling leaders to stop saying these things. The president of Brazil, he was saying, oh, Corona is not real, until he got sick and nearly died. This is why we're trying to tell the leaders in African countries to please show your people leadership by taking the vaccine in public. The vaccine is safe, right? At a minimum, now you see, just taking the vaccine doesn't mean you can be walking around and go contract coronavirus, because you will catch it. It just means that you will not die. You will suffer as hell, but you're not going to die. You still have to practice safe distancing, practice some of the safe measures that is being put in place. But yet, African leaders need to step up, show the public that the vaccine is safe by taking it, just how Biden did it, just how Kamala Harris did it, and just how other leaders have done it around the world. That's the whole reason why people don't trust the government, but also now that trust is building because these leaders are taking the vaccine. Right.
Which is leadership.
I'm looking at a world tracker. Liberia has so far 82,212 people have taken the vaccine.
I think the African CDC said, I don't know what site you're looking at.
No, the site I'm looking at, I can let you know. It's actually the New York Times tracking corona on vaccinations around the world. So they have a column there for the percentage that vaccinated and the percentage that fully vaccinated. So we got 1.6% vaccinated. That means they took the first shot. And 0.1% fully vaccinated. So that 96,000, maybe the other 14,000, we don't know what happened with it right now at this point, because only 82,000 have taken it and there are no vaccines in the country. So how do they get to that point where those people who were vaccinated before are fully vaccinated? They got to urgently bring in more vaccines. I saw the thing about 380,000 coming, right? Plus.
Yeah, procured by the World Bank.
Yeah, but when are those things coming? Because we need them, and there's a lag in this thing. we're not looking at the numbers fully, and for some of us been tracking the numbers, but some people not following the numbers. I mean, over the last week, the average nearly being like 150, in terms of new cases.
Right. But it's growing exponentially. Week over week, it's growing, because when you look at the data, it spiked right around the beginning of June. That's why we're seeing a whole lot of people right now. Like South Africa is on a level 4 right now, because it has spiked in South Africa. A lot of the countries down there, including the Madagascar with a tonic, they have a high rate of infection as well, and people dying in Madagascar.
I mean, they acted stupid from the beginning too. And I did a couple of graphs on the numbers. You can just see, if you look at the active cases, you just see that upward trend, that consistent upward trend going. For like, if you look at a short period of time, you see dips because of the numbers. One day there will be 40 increases, the next day 150. Then it'll come down to 50, 10. It comes down 10. It goes up another 60, 70. So there's no consistency, but you can see that over time it's increasing in terms of the number. When you look from where you started in the beginning of June or the end of May to where you are today, is night and day. Night and day. You are like at 31. Now you're at, basically an average of 150, new cases.
Yeah, and those are lives. But let me read this question this person is asking. Moses Colley is asking, he said, in which country will one find the health minister owning a hospital of the country in which he or she serves? Where, and I'm just going to use the word allegedly, right? So where every medication and equipment secret stolen from foreign nations intended for the country. So I guess our health minister.
Well, let me say something to that. Moses Colley, when he says equipment, there was a situation. And this is true for a fact, and even the Minister of Health never denied it. Some organizations donated medical equipment and supplies to the government through the Minister of Health. She diverted some of those equipment to her hospital. And then when the organization raised it, in fact, the organization came to me, guys. One of their members came to me. And when they raised it with her, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Then she took them from a hospital and finally took them to the government facility.
But again, you see, that's why.
Was she prosecuted?
No, are you kidding? Of course not.
See, that's why when we're talking about corruption and change in people's status and lifestyle, it's not only that, especially for Liberia, where there's so much conflict of interest. Now, if you look at that lady, what was her clinic like before she became Minister of Health? She built a.
I just sent you guys something. Fina Bono's mansion. Checking our chat room. It's nearly complete. You can look at it. George, let's take some calls. Folks, good morning. If you're just joining us, this is the Costa Show you're listening to with Isaac Va Tukbajinian and Larry Kennedy and myself and Boakai. We're going to go to the phone lines now and take some calls. We're discussing the situation in Liberia regarding COVID. How and what can be done to bring the numbers, to bring the situation under control. I think right now, guys, considering how contagious this variant is and how it has spread, it's already penetrated the country. At this point, test kits would not help it. It's just now about vaccine
that's it.
And social distancing and protecting yourself. That's all.
It's just vaccine. Yeah, social distancing, mask, but vaccine. That's
it. That's the only way you can do it.
That's the big push.
All right, Henry, we may say it's like that, right? But I think it's a little bit more than that. That's the clear, topical solution on the surface. But underlying it is the behavior problem. We talk about that. Some of the viral information, even though maybe 65 to 70% of people can read, but there are people telling them, "Oh, they think we're telling you green. Oh, they think we do this. Oh, the president said this. Oh, this other person said it." So they are resistant. Even when vaccines come, there will be some people who will not want to take it. That's one. Secondly, we already talked about how we are as a people, our orientation, touchy-feely, want to be in each other's faces. We don't know anything about personal
like
space.
The way Joe Biden used to be, but he stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Feely Joe, touchy Joe,
huggy Joe, right?
Yeah, go over by our different issue. So that part is there. Then the other part of it is the community. How effective have they been in reaching to community leaders to help them with this sensitization and informing people, not gathering? All of those is limited. Then you look at the policy we are effecting. We say only 50%, let's say Ministry of Health, only 50% should go to work. Funerals, only 20% should be there, around. But schools are still open.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. People are still going to church.
Thank you. So what messages are we sending? Are we saying that in those places, people will not get coronavirus?
Yeah, when you go to church, you can get COVID, but when you go to funeral home, you're 20, you can get COVID.
So
that nonsense.
The consistency in messaging is very important. Getting masks to the people, whether you're procuring it from somewhere or making it on the ground. So we got to find a way where, because they say, I just saw something the other day that Silas Siaka wrote, when the government is not meeting its obligations to the people, the civil society, the private sector, and other organizations need to step up and fill the void. And that's what we need to do. We need to find some of these hotspots, how we can help people there, how we can get masks to them, how we can talk to some of the tailor shops for them to make more masks. I mean, we got to try to be practical, solution-oriented here. And this platform has that ability to do that to a large extent. So it makes sense for us to construct some kind of program that involves getting masks to people, educating people, getting some volunteers on them. People should understand volunteering in Liberia is not just free. It's not like here where most people got their car, they got their food to eat. When they're volunteering, they just go in, spending time and doing something. No. In Liberia, you got to pay transportation for volunteers. You got to buy food for them. So it costs things for us to make anything happen. So I'm just trying to appeal to people to try to work towards that.
Real quick, before Boyka take the calls, let me just put this challenge out there. Since Costa was able to move the country into the photo app, maybe Costa should challenge them into doubling the number of doses of vaccine, and let's see how that works out, right? Because Costa moved the entire nation into trying to get a photo op, into making a speech at the Gender Equality Forum. So Costa, the challenge is out to you.
Oh, but before you go, did he actually speak at this forum? Because I was
no.
He did not, Isaac.
The gender minister did well. She did the speaking
the
on
gender
behalf
minister
of the government.
Larry shared the video with me.
Right, I saw that.
She did well.
But he said the guy was going to speak. If I Samuel Twe on his pseudo Facebook page, the Facebook page with his pseudonym, said the president was going to take center stage and address the generation forum. But he did not speak. Why didn't he? Well, anyway, that's inconsequential. But let's take some calls.
Okay, folks, so the phone lines are open this morning, 0770-102-102-886-010383, 555-102-102. The WhatsApp number is +231-888-624171. Now take Noah's out Gibson this morning. Noah, good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Our dynamic leader of the great COP and senator in waiting, and by the grace of God, president also in waiting in the future, Henry Federal Costa. My name is Noah Gibson, and I'm tuning in on Triple Town Somalia. I think also use this opportunity to say good morning to senior comrade Larry Kennedy and even Isaac Vatuba, whom I respect very well. Look, everything you guys are discussing, I completely in concurrence with whatever discussion you guys are having there. Now, let me start with the issue that has to do with the fight against the COVID-19. I don't know whether you follow this story. In Grand Gila County, the National Public Health Institute reported that Grand Gila County had reported a new case. But then the county health officer came and debunked the National Public Health Institute statement that no, we are not aware, the county health officer are not aware of already registering any case. That's not true. Now, if you do this, what this brings, or the danger this brings to the fight against COVID-19, is undermines the fight because there is not coherence as it relates to information when it comes to the fight against COVID-19. How can the National Public Health Institute pronouncing that a county has reported a case Then the country health officer, they're saying, no, that's not true. So it also brings a lot of doubt in the mind of the people. You're supporting the people to doubt more the fight against the disease. But then it concludes with this. The mansion that you just talked about Fina Bono, is right here in my community, South Africa, Road, Jacob, where I'm standing right there talking to you right now. That mansion, the land was bought on Emmanuel Crawford, who used to be in the Taylor government. It's where she constructed this mansion. When you come and see the place, Costa, you will see for your country. It's a duplex. She got storage building there. She got all apartments, duplexes. I can assure you. So I think for me, these people will have to be prosecuted at the end of their regime.
Okay.
And if they are not prosecuted, we should hold our government accountable that is in waiting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Noah Zao Gibson, for the call. And
that's true. That's where they mentioned, and she did a lot of things though. It's not just her mansion. The picture I sent you guys, that's just her own mansion. That's where she's gonna be staying. But then she's building duplexes and all kinds of things.
But it starts from the top. It has been
and guys, this is why I say, except we lack political will. But guys, you don't need a GSC to conduct a month-long audit of Fina Bono to determine that she's stealing money.
No.
You just need to look at what Fina Bono earns. Her salary is anywhere around $5,000. And look at what she's building. Look at her lifestyle. And grab her and put her in jail. Come and get her assets. It's just that simple, you know. But of course,
you know, that's how we caught one guy at JP Morgan Chase. The guy went to purchase a $500,000 property over in Moorestown, New Jersey. $500,000 property, and he was making around $55,000-$60,000. He was working in the money transfer department, of course, right? So when he went there, it was kind of unusual. So the attorney doing the closing, he said, wait a second, man, this guy's going to make you $50,000-$60,000. He had to report that information to the IRS. Mm-hmm. And then that information was also kind of passed back over to the firm, but the firm never caught on to it. So they just the attorney looking at the guy's income and the property he was buying, he was putting down almost $400,000. So just looking at his income and the property he was buying was what they used to determine, hey, wait a second, this guy can't afford this thing. Where's this money?
It doesn't add up.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Yeah. So that's how we can catch these guys very easily. Because guys, to do an intensive forensic audit, it takes time. It takes a tremendous amount of resources. But to do a lifestyle audit, it's simple. Look at McGill. How is it that McGill went to the CDC headquarters on live camera? He donated 6 months of his salary. Yet, that very same salary, 6 months of which he donated, he didn't touch his salary account for almost a year. One day when he suddenly remembered that he receives a salary, he checks his account. His wife has swiped his card and she made purchases. Gucci bags, Givenchy, Prada, you name it. To the tune of $40-something thousand, and he said you're going to sue the bank. The bank pulled up his statement. He saw all the purchases. He just got embarrassed and dropped the case. Guys, how can you be working? Your salary, you don't touch it. You don't even see what a salary account looks like. How the hell are you living? Guys, I mean, the guys are so dumb. I mean, how can I stand somewhere and say I donate 6 months of my salary? How am I going to feed my wife and my children?
Only in Liberia, right?
Go ahead. Because you know the president gives certain percentage of his salary to the Liberian people. I don't know how far.
Look, the special assistant to Julius Marabio went to a church. I believe it was TB Joshua's church. But you remember that story? I mean, there's a story. She was testifying in the church how God has been so good to her. And since becoming special assistant to the president, she's built herself a nice home. She's built other rental properties. The moment the President Marabio saw that video of his special assistant testifying in the church, you know what he did? I believe she was suspended or dismissed and forwarded to be prosecuted. Now, guys, listen to this. The other day, there was this thing in Sierra Leone that Marabio's wife, the first lady, was spending government money and blah, 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 all kinds of stuff, right? Fine. The Anti-Corruption Commission of Sierra Leone launched a probe. Now, guys, the symbolic and singular fact that the anti-graft body would get up and do an investigation of the woman. I read the report. Well, not the report, but I read the statement on the report. It was published. Kaifala Ben something. Francis Ben Kaifala. He's the head of the LECC. Yeah, she was fired. Thank you, Enter Vida Duno. They fired the special assistant because she said, God blessing her, she not build houses. I said, oh, you go testify? You know, I mean, guys, you know, the fact that the president's wife was investigated and the report was published. Now, that's the beauty, guys, because in Liberia, we can commission audits and commission reports or investigations, but we never see the outcome.
No, but sometimes we say investigation. So.
Then we say we should investigate the investigation report. Now, what Joey can do? No, Joey introduced that one to us. After the investigation, then he said, you're going to investigate the investigation report. But guys, the first lady was investigated. And the report said, I read the statement. It said this. She's a first lady and she receives money from the government. Yes, she has spent government money, but it was money allotted to her office. Now, that may not have assuaged some people's interests or concerns, but still, guys, it is symbolic. Do you think George Weah, if you complete, will ask this man to publish his asset? The man said he's not publishing his asset because the law does not require him to publish his asset.
Yeah.
Now, guys, let me tell you this. I've been thinking about it. I'm going to tell my people. Some guys have approached me. This is serious stuff, very serious. Listen to this, guys. They have the asset declarations for George Weah, Samuel Twe, Nathaniel McGill, Bill Traore, and somebody else. 5 top government officials, including the president. But these guys were asking me to give them some money before they give it to me. And to be honest, I'm sorry I'm going to say this, but I wasn't very happy that they asked me for money. I was like, guys, when I get an asset report document, why can't I do it? It will not feed me. It's for me to release to the public. So how do I make money out of this thing? I want to expose it. So initially what they asked for was too high. But then they came back and they asked for something, I think, $1,500. And I've been thinking, I said, should I give them $1,500 to get these documents? Because I'm sure people want to see why George Weah does not want to publish his assets. The guys have the document. And by the way, they don't work at the LACC right now. So y'all don't think you're going to go fire them or something like that. They are not there now. Because the way I said it, they're going to try to start finding who the guys are. But they have the documents. They have George Weah asset declaration, Samuel Twe's, Nathaniel McGill's, Bill Traore's, and somebody else's. 5 of them, they have their asset declarations. And they're asking me for $1,500 US or $1,500. So now I want y'all, my people, to tell me, do we get it? And when we want it, y'all will raise the money. We'll raise the $1,500, we'll pay, we'll get the documents.
Yes, my recommendation.
I really want to see what George Weah assets look like, right?
Yeah, here's my recommendation. I think even seeing his assets declaration right now is not going to change anything for the next several years until he leaves office, number one. But number two, and first of all, God works in a mysterious way, right? Having someone in Sierra Leone go to church to testify, to expose themselves, shows the power of God, right? So people don't see that. Number two, that money can be used, if we set our priorities straight, that money can be used in more meaningful ways in terms of the fight against COVID-19. So because if you look at it, there's no return on that investment right there.
Yeah, which we'll talk about for a few weeks and we'll be done with it.
Exactly. And it's going to be meaningless because it's not going to shift anything by declaring his assets.
I said, what's your view on that?
Yeah.
Do you agree with Larry on that or not?
I agree with Larry, but I come a little bit from a different angle because the first thing, you're not benefiting monetarily from that information you would get. Like he said, the return on investment of that is useless. And we know George Weah, that first $80 million that they claim that he's supposed to have, that's something hard. We knew George Weah was broke. That was one of the many reasons why in the previous elections, the 2011 elections, that's why Winston Tubman were trying to find somebody else to run along because George Weah did not have the funding. We could not raise the funding. That was the primary reason. We're not even going to field a candidate as a party. We had that discussion the Christmas before. We had that discussion. You know, so it's clear that he didn't have those resources, and the little that he had, Clara was holding on to it. She did not want her family to be hopeless, so it was limited. George Weah was on a shoestring budget. So for any institution or people out there to claim that coming into the presidency he had 86 million are just, complete bogus nonsense. So,
but I said when he ran for the Senate, he put his total net worth at 3.something million. He said he only had 50,000 US in his bank account. I have it. When he ran for the Senate in 2014, the man said he was only worth 3.something million in property and he only had $50,000 cash in the bank.
So it's simple. So to track money, to track, whatever private property anybody gets, that's something really easy, especially when you have the authority. So like somebody said, the guy said earlier, once they're not in that position, you can do it. You'll be able to go to LACC and find those records. Even if they destroy them, then it makes it worse. So at the end of the day, I personally would not pay for information, especially in these times where we have a situation where there should be a higher priority of using money for something. And people in these positions should be patriots.
Yeah, our people are saying the same thing. We should not give them money for.
They can't hold you hostage like that. You're not selling that information back to other people.
Let hear from our man Boyka Kamara. He want to put something.
Yes, and we should also look at the legitimacy of the document, how authentic the document is, and who it's coming from. Because nowadays, people they tell you, say, "Oh, I have this document." We don't know how they prepare it, how they manage to get it, and then when we put it out there. It don't begin the same document that we want. So we should also look at that.
Yeah, Liberians have the attention span of a microwave. When the information is hot, it stays hot. But you let it sit outside for 1 or 2 minutes, it's going to get cold, die down. Nothing comes out of it. So
look at the 3 young men. Anything happen with their death?
Yeah,
nothing. It's over.
So sometimes, Costa, we got to get to the root cause of this thing. I don't know if NPHL or Ministry of Health really investigating how the Delta virus got into this, but supposedly that lady at, what's her name, Abigail something, the deputy commander at immigration that was suspended. She was suspended because she allowed some people from Turkey in the country that subsequently tested positive. So why are they not transparent about the contact tracing around those people? These people, mingle with so many other people, Liberians, other Turkey people. They got the disease and they continue that contact tracing down the line. But we don't see that. And that is critical in this case for people to know where these hotspots are and where they should avoid. Because who knows, somebody may go to that particular store run by that person or in that community where it's really the hotspot for this coronavirus. So we are not protecting our people when we keep secret about all these different things.
Here's the question. Usually when you have these outbreaks, and we saw it in the 60s when the Marburg virus hit Germany. We saw it in the 70s when it hit the Congo. We saw it when it hit other countries surrounding the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Whenever you have these situations, there's always a published report, a lessons learned published report. Anyone seen that lessons learned published report from the Ebola crisis in Liberia?
We asked for that. No.
It's nowhere. Because this is what you go back and you take the lessons that you learned from that, the contact tracing. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? There are lessons learned on the US CDC website right now. The CDC did their own lessons learned report on Liberia. We don't have that lessons learned report coming from our government. And this is no blame on the George Weah administration. This is totally on the previous administration. They never put together a lessons learned. So if we don't have that report out there for others to refer to see how we can do things differently, that means we're doing the same thing again. This is why we have, these situations with COVID spiking, because we haven't learned our lesson. If we learn our lesson, well, we're not putting it to good use. So there's a huge gap in there, and we cannot totally hold this particular government responsible, because the previous government received $1.5 billion in support from the U.S. government. And tell you what, I'm going to throw everybody into the basket and spread this around, because the NGOs that went to Liberia, did receive a ton of this money. But what have the NGOs done? Have they strengthened the healthcare system? No. They turn around, take the money, take the knowledge, and they leave the country. And this is where, when the Assistant Minister, Costa Show, was asking, what has the NGO done in this country? You said took offense to that. He asked a serious question. He said, look, we're putting together a database to see the amount of work that NGOs are doing in this country.
Ever since we proposed that during Ellen's time, and she has said, because NGOs were like cross-benefiting. They would take the other people's picture and say that's the result of the work when they were not doing the work. So
they're not doing the work.
We regulate that sector.
Yes. But he tried to. But he put together a database, and I believe, and I've been searching the Ministry of Finance website to see what's going on with that, because I know he put together a database where he was taking the list of the NGOs and he was tracking to see the work they're doing and how it's benefiting the people. But you said took offense to that. And this goes back to what JMB has said in the past. You can't expect to lead your country. You can expect to set your own policies if you're begging for money. If you're begging for money out there, those countries are going to set the policies. We cannot tell that you said what you say can do and cannot do, because you said it's setting the policies.
Well, what is the impact of some of those things? Look, we got to hold responsible. They feed the future. They power Africa, all of those things.
All those things are a bunch of white elephant projects. Flash in the pan.
Dollars to Liberia for.
Costa nailed it. It's a white elephant project. It's a white. You're feeding and allocating.
How was it that you got all these feed the future, feed the present, the people now?
That future, that today present. How many people are being fed from that program?
I'm a man. Let me tell you something. NGOs don't fascinate me. Unless you're making a real practical difference, like those ones that go and build wells in communities where they need water, and they help with real things, like the GTZ people. Like I like the Germans. The Germans do technical training, vocational technical training. But all these workshops and all the other stupid things that do the right of these people, I mean, it's nonsense.
Absolutely nonsense. When you look, oh my God, it gets me so pissed off, because I know that I spent several years studying that whole sector, because it's just an absolute scam. And I've interviewed these people at some of the large NGOs operating in Liberia, the FHI 360, Family Health International. Family Health International, here's an organization that was doing work in Afghanistan. They were doing work in Afghanistan, supposedly doing work in Afghanistan, until someone reported them that they weren't doing anything but bribing Afghan's government official. Obama received that letter. He had the Justice Department investigate these guys. Yes. They changed their name from, I can't think of the original name. They changed their name to FHI 360, Family Health International. They merged with another organization. So these guys, these organizations, not all of them, some of them, they are not doing the actual work on the ground, and they need to be investigated, because there is no way we should be having this crisis right now and we don't have PPEs in Liberia, considering the amount of money that was spent in the past. So it's absolute nonsense that we don't have those equipment right now.
Here is why the NGOs all sign an MOU with the government. Every single NGO in the country signs an MOU with the government. They are permitted to work in the country. They also provide their work plans to the government. Now, the reason to do that is because the government now should be able to monitor and track their performance.
But guys, the government doesn't have the
power. You have a government that is incapable of tracking its own performance. How then would it be able to track the performance of NGOs? What are you talking about here, guys?
Well, here's the thing, Pedro. The NGOs, you said, has a program in place, and even the World Bank, they have a program in place, where they have monitoring and evaluation. It's part of the whole project management.
Yeah, they spend a lot of money on M&E. Even that too.
Larry, when you see the kind of money they spend on M&E,
Evaluated, Larry. How effective has it been to expose the negligence, the
nothing,
the lack of results?
need that thing. NGOs were not established to help us. Look, I read
some of the M&E reports are fabricated.
I read a book by a guy called what was it, Greg Mills or something. It's a book called Why Africa is Poor and What Africans Can Do About It. Greg Mills. It's a South African guy, Afrikaner. This guy even talked about Liberia. He went to Liberia. This is a great book, guys. Greg Mills talked about all these NGOs. Save the planet, save the children, save the world, do this one. All these NGOs. The NGOs, as we all know, guys, they're not in Africa to help Africans. They're there to bring most of the money back. Their people are overly paid. And the local people they have, you know, the only real benefit we get from the NGOs, the few Liberians who are working with them, who are relatively better paid than average Liberian employees. That's all. NGO leave, my man, you got what do you show? Nothing they have to show. Look, I saved the children. Tell me how many children they have saved.
And that's what we keep talking about, sustainability. The whole idea should be that that you come in as an NGO to fill in a gap. Whatever that gap is, you're trying to fill it in. When you are leaving, then you dig a hole bigger than where you came and met. No, it's supposed to be something where you leave something sustainable there. You empower people.
My man, these people exploit the misery and the poverty of Africans.
But yeah, and you're on point with that. Absolutely. But here's the thing. What would the next administration do? Would they change? Because we've seen this movie before.
My man. You know when I say this, some people don't like to hear it. When I say this, a lot of people in opposition don't like to hear it because they think it's a pessimistic view. But no, it's consistent with an unrelenting practice of consistency in terms of bad governance and abuse and corruption and incompetency. I'm holding my breath and waiting. I'm not going to sit here and tell my people by the time John Brown becomes president, the country everything will be different. I will not do that. Even though I have a choice for president that I'm supporting, but even for him, I will not put my neck on the line. I will not do that, guys. I will wait.
And why are you not going to put your neck on the line?
And based on what he will do. But Liberian politicians, I have very little trust in them.
And the reason,
go ahead, Larry.
The reason Don Pedro is not putting his neck on the line because he's learned his lesson. He's seen what people have done in the past.
Yeah.
And he's lowering his expectations because he's seeing right now exactly
managing them, lowering them, adjusting them.
Managing expectations.
With my expectations.
This is why the former economist from Goldman Sachs, Damisa Moya, Dead Age, she wrote a book called Dead Age.
I read that book. That famous book.
They criticized her. She said, aid is not going to rescue Africa.
No,
plain and simple. That was the thesis of the book. Nope, it's not. Because again, we received almost $2 billion over the past 6 years. Look at where our healthcare system is. We don't even have a thorough health information management system. They stay asking people to take folders or their record with them to the hospital. We don't have a true healthcare system. And again, I want to be fair. It's not totally on this government. Some of the blame goes to the NGOs. So when we're looking at COVID right now, money is going to flow in for COVID. Rest assured, it's going to flow in for COVID.
Money that came for Ebola, my man.
For Ebola. Why are we in this situation? We should have strengthened our healthcare system by now.
Unfortunately, everybody see their position as an ownership thing and how they're supposed to benefit from it instead of how to make that position impact the people or the specific mandate that they have. They look at it as some kind of feudal lordship where they control it, everything that comes to them, how they're supposed to distribute it, and that has not changed. But again, you keep trying to say you don't blame this government. This government was supposed to be a change government. This government, we pointed out all these same things we're talking about today in the previous government, and the idea was to come to power, make that difference.
Guys,
I just shared something with you guys in the chat room. We're gonna have to, let's take 2 more calls and then we'll come back to Larry and Isaac to close up. I have to take this man to school later on, so I gotta go get some rest. 2 more calls, then we'll come back to them. I mean, it's just sad, and I agree with Isaac. We gotta blame them too because they were a changed government. That's what the problem is, change. Every government can be blamed for what it does now, not for what the previous one did. Yeah. But for what it does now or for what it does not do to undo what the previous government did. And they excuse that, we just coming. It's not acceptable.
They've been there for 3 years, so they're not just coming.
Okay. Let's take somebody from this line this morning. Good morning.
And the thing is sad, man. Liberians and their thing is sad.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, your name, where you calling from? Good morning.
My name is Lady D. Williams. I'm calling from 9th Street.
Okay, welcome.
Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Iva. Good morning, Larry and Boyka.
Welcome.
Listen, I have a real concern, and I wrote it on the page as well. The lack of big door masks that are being made. The lappers themselves are very porous. They're very thin. The thread count is not high enough. So when you're wearing that mask, it's not helping you. And then on top of it, it does not have the bone in it to cinch on your nose so that it holds it in place properly. And we are telling our people to wear these masks, but they're not going to be effective.
Do you know if there has, I'm just asking because that's just my nature, but I know it's not there. Any study that has been done on the use of, especially in Liberia, of those masks versus the cotton ones or the other ones that are being brought from abroad? To see the efficacy?
Well, no, I'm just using my common sense, Larry. Larry, I don't know if you're married or not, but
No, it's not. It wasn't Larry asking.
Sheet count because it lasts longer and it's more porous. Don't be laughing.
No, it was Isaac. It was Isaac or Iva, not Larry. It was Iva.
You know that the lappers are very thin.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you because you can even see some of the masks that people are wearing. It doesn't hold down over the nose to clamp down, like she said, with the metal thing. And we got plenty old tire that they can take the little serial wire from and put it. Because what we used to do to make our blade, you can take those wires there and let those people put it in there that is able to come down over the nose and protect people.
To fit firmly, yeah.
But Larry, people are even wearing the proper mask. They don't even know why that bone is there. People, I'm standing on my porch telling people, use the pinch it right there over the bridge of your nose. People don't even know that the bone is there for that reason.
Well, that's why people need education, ma'am.
Right.
Thank you very much, Lady
G.
And I don't care how many times you fly, when you get on the airplane, they will give you the instructions.
My man, I get tired of that thing, my man. I want to do that, I get there. Are you kidding? But it's mandatory.
But that one time when it happens and you don't know how to rescue yourself or put that mask on or put that thing on to jump off the plane, you die. So that's why people have to really explain to people and be consistent in the explanation. Sorry, go ahead, Boyka.
Yeah, let's take our last caller. Good morning. Good morning. On the WhatsApp number. Welcome.
How you doing?
I'm okay. Your name, where you calling us from?
Thank you very much. I'm Dekadu Weke. I'm calling you from India. As regard to the pandemic now, I will speak to our leader here, Petro Costa, and all those guys, Larry, and our brother Tuba. You people have to keep amplifying these issues. You have to keep speaking to our people because, and you see, leader sometimes are seeing before the positions be given to them. You guys are leader because now I can tell you the leader diversity in Liberia. Can't you see the president? At this time, the president had to be side by side with Director and that of the health minister to be speaking to the people. But they are not. Look at the projection, the CDC projection of Liberia. Look at the World Bank projection of Liberia concerning COVID-19. But the leaders are not speaking to the people. What can we do? They are like confused. Like last week, I called my wife from Liberia. I thought she was to her office. She told me, say, no, I'm home. Why you at home? She said they estimated that 50% staff should be cut off from the federal offices. So I'm home now.
Yeah.
Then I asked, okay, let me speak to my children. She said, no, the children go to school. I said, what the hell? The child will go to school and the parents sitting home. So you want to tell me they don't have the teacher themselves than the parent?
Mm-hmm.
In the direct class, there are about 45 to 50 students in Liberia, I know.
Yeah.
In the direct office, there's 4 or 5 person in the office. And they are mature people. Then you tell them, go home. But where about 45, 50 children will go and sit together without proper understanding of the issue, you say the children should go to school. What benefit the education will do to a dead body? When the president, acquire the education at the end of the day, they cannot make it so, and like they are confused. So we count on you people on the platform, like the platform, Costa Talk Show is one of the bigger platforms. You get a heavy voice. You speak to our people, you educate them, you talk to them. Because there's no leader who depend on you guys.
Okay.
And we still want to look at the head, nothing go on. So thank you very much for the time.
And like he said, Costa, students are in school, nightclubs are open, and people are still going
but
to
they shut the funeral homes down.
Yeah.
People are going to church.
People are going to church with the
what's
bus.
going on here? This is crazy.
Yeah, I think somebody said it earlier.
You heard the point this man raised, Larry?
Yeah.
So, his wife said she's home because they send them home because they're down to 50% of the workforce, the staff.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So are the parents less responsible?
No, a lot of parents are interested in trying to hold their kids out, Costa.
Huh?
The feedback I got, the preliminary feedback from parents, they are holding their children out. They are not letting them go to school because they are afraid. If you telling me I should stay with my child and go bring the disease and come back home, what sense it makes? So some people are individually bringing their kids home, and that's, you see, sometimes when some of these things happen, we don't try to perfect things. But the first time when people stay away from home, we should have had an online platform that's ready to go.
How you can have online platform, the internet, Joey, I get the price way up. Hey man, I say what? Joey, I get the internet price. We say we can be on social media all day criticizing.
You keep carrying the price up, but as long as it's not doing the right things, we'll talk about them. And it will not be personal for some of us. It will just be about issues and for the country.
Then you'll go to the church and open and preach on you.
But it comes down to education. And let me correct the lady. She's making great sense, right? So this is Larry. You were speaking to Isaac before. So she's making a great point, because the threat count in those masks is not going to protect anyone. So it's a false sense of protection by wearing those masks with the LAPA, and the threat count is low. But our people need to be educated, because remember during Ebola, they had to quarantine West Point, right? Because the people just simply would not listen. They even had to quarantine West Point.
They looted an Ebola treatment center, right? The mattresses and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is where the leaders need to educate the people, because some people are just hard-headed. No matter what you say, they still would disregard it, because when Ebola were killing people, they were still saying, oh, Ebola is not in Liberia. And over 4,000 people ended up being killed. We don't have the regulatory framework to manage things like this. Ignorance is killing us. We don't have the regulatory framework to even manage the drugs in the country. There's a lot of fake medications, let alone someone managing the type of mask people are using. They don't have the N95 mask that I believe is mandatory, and not mandatory, that is recommended here in the US. They don't have it in Liberia. We got to educate the people. But before I even lose focus on this, I wanted to say thanks to Noah Zhao Gibson, big fan of his as well, for mentioning what's going on in Grand Gita. The misinformation is what's hurting this whole fight against COVID as well. There's a lot of misinformation going around. Someone saying there's COVID, someone saying that's not. That's nonsense. Go ahead, Boy.
All right, guys. Yeah, I think we should wrap this up. Isaac, your closing.
Yes. Again, like people say, we have to really be offering solutions and continuously telling our people what the issues are, especially with this COVID situation. For me personally, so many people I know are dying. People the intelligentsia, the intellectual people, there are not that many already. And many of them are dying with the COVID because many of them shun the taking of the vaccine. So even my, alma mater, Cottington, quite a few people are dying from that. Personal people I know, this, Hawa Ellen Knuckles, Alex Gale, Dayu Allen, and, several other, the Boima, Wekenima, or whatever that his last name is. So some of these people you don't know, like overlay, but you are seeing that people are dying, and many people are saying that. How can we stop this bleeding? It's about education, it's about awareness, it's about pushing government to do what their responsibility is. So, the vaccines, they got to be put some urgency to it to see how they can get those vaccines, let people start taking them. Even one shot of the vaccine helps you before you get to the other one. So let's not wait. Let's do whatever we can. And in the background, probably over the next couple of days, let's try to devise a way. I know COP has done some stuff. I know Cummings himself is doing some stuff. But let's reach out to the people, because we, Liberian Emergency and Disaster Relief Fund, during Ebola, we reached out to a lot of different organizations and do that. And this platform can do that too, to get a concerted effort to find where people most need these things, how we can get some volunteers on the ground to do some level of tracing in some communities and help our people's lives. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time.
Real quick, Costa, just real quick, to kind of keep it short, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm going to try to do my part to see what I can do to try to convince some of the people out here to get vaccines, to get masks and some other stuff over to Liberia. So I'm going to try to do my part. And I just ask every Liberian who has the ability, kudos to Cummings for what he is doing. I'm not going to, go without saying, he's doing his part, but let all Liberians come together to the aid of our country. That's it for me.
Well, we have to, Larry, and I commend you for that. We have to, because we have a leadership deficit. We got president that can take time to be preaching against critics as opposed to telling people to wear the mask and socially distance.
Vaccine.
Guys, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
All right, guys.
Bye.
All right.